Oh, and then also there's all of the many things on Fantasy Name Generator.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of those. And we will decide which to do on the stream. The stream has started. Just so you're aware.
We're all very professional here.
Most professional. Sorry, hang on. Mostly professional, that's the And got some chill music in the background. We're cracking. Hi! This is a stream. Stream's happening. It's going on right now. Swoosh. There it is. Rolling. Rawhide?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much rawhide, yeah, why not? Oops. Oh! We have the spectrum of good cats. Ooh. Round. Also soup. Oh, look at those eyes. Yeah. Look at them. Them's good eyes. So we are welcome to Soup Brain Times. Hey Bear, how are you doing? But yes, we were just discussing what to do on this stream. Because we've done a lot of, here are sprites or concept art or whatever everybody draw. Then maybe it's time to do something else. Even though I spent 2.5 hours today looking at concept art when I was supposed to just do it for a bit. You got carried away. Cooking potatoes.
I mean, to be fair, one, we will probably be coming back to that concept, so it's not like it's going to go unused. 2, concept art is fun to look at.
It is, which reminds me, actually, I have one to share, which is not suitable for the game. But where am I keeping these? But I wanted to demonstrate it because I liked it, because I saw it wrong first time round. There it is. This is some art from the original Zelda. And I think
Link opening a chest.
I think what's supposed to be happening here is that this. Let me get a. Is that this? That's the nose.
Oh.
However, I saw it as that's the nose and this is a little mouth.
Yep, me too.
And I much prefer it that way around. He's doing a little smile. And I just wanted to share that because it made me smile.
That was cute.
Also, I love how it's just very clearly coloured in with felt tips.
Yeah.
Is he a bum in the chest? Bear has found the magical bum of Gammondorf. There's booty in the chest.
This isn't even the game where we've got pirates running around and we're dealing with booty.
I know. Anyway, that was just a thing. I just wanted to share. So yeah, what do we do?
Cats?
Cats. More cats. Just all the cats. We're going to do random Pokemon Pokedex generators, but they're all cats.
I mean, we could.
We could.
Or also we could take one of the random class generators and make them all cats.
Yay.
True. Then again, I'm contractually obliged to draw a cat boy once a year in the form of Clamps' Final Fantasy character. So I don't want to go over quota, you know. Particularly given how
Well,
I
I mean,
drew
the
this
contract's
year.
done, and now you can just do whatever you want.
Do I get paid overtime?
You get paid?
I was gonna say.
It's Patreon.
There is that, yes.
I'll be perfectly honest. I don't really know what people are like supporting me on Patreon for at this point, so it might as well be the streams.
Is there a link to the D&D thingy?
Well, which one do we want? So this is the... So this is the titular... Who the fuck is my D&D character?
Classic.
But I forget. I mean,
That one does include race, but if we're just making everyone cats, we can just ignore that. Then there is also... Oh, this one's the one that... where it takes a random character and assigns it a random class. So this one here is the class masher, where it takes characters from various canons and it gives them a class from various RPGs and MMOs and the like.
Oh, yeah. Interesting concept.
Poor dairy farm who refuses to admit their bastard tribe. You know, that's actually a fun D&D concept to go like, oh, yeah, this is an adventurer, and they're just old, crotchety, didn't do any of this beforehand.
yeah.
For some reason, they are now on an adventure.
They've always wanted to do it, but they didn't realize that they probably should have done it with more youth.
More youth.
Also, one of the random mashups that I had on that other website was Zap Brannigan as a sage, which feels wrong.
What generator has that Brannigan?
It's just Seventh Sanctum Class Masher. Just takes a random character from a thing and a random class from a thing and pushes them together, because why not?
Yeah, when I pulled it up, one of the ones on the list was Shockwave, one of the Transformers in Transformers, as a D&D druid.
And why not?
And add to that also a cat.
Now, the problem with these is that I have to know both the character and the thing, the class.
Yeah, there is that.
I don't know any
Which is
classes.
why I was like, maybe we should just use the who the fuck is my D&D character and just replace whatever race with it. This is now a cat.
Yeah. Although I do understand Kermit the Frog Viking. I get that as a prompt.
Well, I call dibs on the dairy farm person.
Well, off you go. Should we start with that?
Yeah.
Works for me.
Oh, this would have been a good stream to have like crochet thing ready. I don't have anything ready. I made a scarf during the Wartail stream. Well, a little scarf for a sloth.
Oh, I was gonna say you made a whole fucking scarf.
I mean, it was like, you know, a centimetre and a half wide and about 20 centimetres long. So,
Yeah,
Not- not
depending
the-
on what you're doing with scarves, they don't always take a lot of time and
MS.
brain power.
I mean, you say that. I did literally half the scarf wrong. But I realised halfway through it, because I'm used to working in the round rather than sort of changing backwards and forwards. And as a consequence, I thought what I thought were the sort of two parts of the stitch that I should be feeding into were actually like the front loop and then something underneath it. But it looks the same, and I don't know why. I don't know why it looks the same when I was doing it so wrong. But
Because it's a scarf.
yeah, because it's a scarf. It doesn't matter. Hi, miss.
It's a scarf, and you were probably not doing a very intricate pattern on account of the fact that I think you were probably crocheting instead of knitting.
Yep. Very simple, alternate colors between light purple and dark purple.
Yeah, most of the scarf patterns that I've seen are very forgiving with that sort of thing. You just don't notice.
I mean, well, given that I have those purples out, I do have a pattern for Gumi. So I could do that. Or we could look at what our friends are drawing and be complimentary. I've been watching your auntie knit all day. So far she's made a hat and a sleeve and a sleeve and a half for a jumper. That's prolific.
That doesn't surprise me, because again, unless she's doing something very fancy, those are all fairly easy to do. It's essentially make tube.
There are 7 colors.
Because unless you're doing the jumper as one singular piece, usually what happens is you make a couple of tubes, a couple of flat bits, and then stitch them together. Well, yeah, but that's because you don't know how to do it. Like, knitting is very easy. People figured that out a very long time ago.
Knitting's hard. I protest.
No, making really fancy things with knitting is hard. Knitting is not.
I mean,
The most
Get confused and forget what I'm doing.
drawing is hard, but you do that very easily, very quickly. So both of those things can be true.
Yeah, hence my making something intricate is difficult, because yes, if you're needing to keep track specifically of specific stitches and where I'm changing things, that can be a bit of a bear.
Oh, no, it's not where I'm changing things. It's just, oh, wait, how did I do this again? Like, 10 stitches? And I'm not kidding. I don't as well.
That's fair. Bear? What? Who?
Hey, Bear.
That's a bear.
Well, I do have things that I can work on hand-wise. I will work on the knitting bit instead of one of these crochet bits. Because I still want to get this thing done at some point. Well, I want to get them all done at some point, but the knitting is the stuff I've been learning.
Oh, here's a fun little thing I can say about crochet. Is when you're sort of first learning crochet and you learn all the different stitches and stuff like that. There's the chain stitch, which is sort of one of the most basic things, and you usually use it to start off the width of whatever it is you're doing and then build off that. And as I was learning that, I was like, this is familiar. Why do I know this? And my granddad, he was a plumber, not a largely artistic fellow or anything like that. But one of the things I always liked is that when we went into his shed, he had like lots of different. He was one of those people who kept assorted bits of string. You know, it's like, well, that's too long to throw away, so we'll keep that. And he used to just do this thing that would make it sort of shorter and springy. So instead of just sort of wrapping it up, he'd just do this little thing to fiddle with it with his hands and shorten the length. And he would just do it by hand, and he showed me how to do it, and I used to enjoy doing that. Turns out that's a chain stitch. So I already knew how to do that, taught by somebody who didn't know what a chain stitch or crochet was.
Yeah, because it's one of the... There's a couple of different methods out there for taking long rope, and shortening it. And stuff like a chain stitch is one of them. But yeah. The fun thing is, with a lot of crochet, the stitches are more or less... Okay, save for the chain stitch, which is a little different. Most of the other stitches are pretty much the same. It's just how many loops do you make beforehand before you start sticking things into things.
Yeah. I wanted a decent way of sort of writing down, okay, this is what this stitch does. And I was because when I was first learning, I was like, okay, you got to learn this stitch and this stitch and this stitch, and there's so many stitches, and how do I keep them all in my brain and all that sort of stuff. And then I eventually worked out, oh, hang on, most of these instructions are put the thing through a stitch, or pull the thing back through a loop, or wrap the yarn around the hook. And that's basically all of the instructions in crochet. And I was like, okay, I'll just write those down. So I just have, a left arrow to put it in, a right arrow to pull it out, and a little loop to loop it. And just that's how I write down my stitches, to keep track of them.
The loop to loop it.
Got to loop to loop. Many a loop to loop.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you need special instruction of where you need to, which part of the loop to put it in, or what, how you're looping it around or whatever, but...
Yeah, like, especially if you're, like, skipping stitches, or having multiple stitches in a stitch. But yeah, it's pretty much... How many times do you loop the yarn around your hook? Where are you sticking your hook? How much are you grabbing when you pull stuff out?
Once you understand that, you can do a lot of things. I also just discovered that a lot of balls of yarn have a thing where you can just pull it out of the middle instead of having to constantly wind the thing around the outside.
Yeah.
Yes, that is done on purpose, Chris.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It was tucked inside. I wasn't know what he told me these things.
I can never find it.
Do they not have that printed on your... like the label on the yarn? Because most of the time when I've got a thing of yarn that is spun that way, there's a little picture where it's like pull out, where it shows someone pulling the thing out of the middle.
No.
Okay then. I'm judging your manufacturers then. At least mildly.
It's machine washable on a low setting.
Probably acrylic then.
Cute wee memory. Crochet is the gateway to summoning demons. Yes, Miss has summoned a demon recently, and it has a small orange.
I still think Miss should make more frogs in a bunch of different colors.
Rainbow frogs. Watching Christy draw as well. I know. Look at this.
I'm having a reference, don't worry.
It's great. You act as though drawing with a reference isn't a skilled activity. You see me trying to draw from a reference.
I'll draw like a second grader if I don't have a reference.
That's a good thing that you have the internet, isn't it?
Hehe.
And you can draw all the things.
People drawing with a reference is a thing that people did as a job for a very long time.
Yeah, didn't do Da Vinci any harm.
How does a fang look like? That's fine.
Hello, delicious strawberry man. Sorry, what was it? I interrupted.
I don't know what fangs look like.
Me. If that helps.
They look chomp.
Jump.
Okay, that's funny. The hood has ears.
Yeah. Ears are gotta go somewhere, you know?
Not that it has one poking out of it. That's stupid.
The glove still looks like a hand, even though it doesn't have a hand in it.
What?
The glove looks like a hand without a hand in it. So the hood with ears would still look like ears, even without ears in it.
Ew. I thought you were going Jaden Smith all of a sudden.
I was going, oh, what? What did I do? Who?
Jaden Smith. It's an old meme that Jaden Smith used to write really weird shit on Twitter.
Ah, right, okay.
Like philosophical, I guess, things.
I mean, you could take what I say as philosophy. I wouldn't recommend it.
If you start talking about philosophy, you are a philosopher. So maybe
so
not
when-
a good one.
So when Cheeb says that they hate philosophy and philosophers, they are in
Yes.
fact being
If you have opinions about philosophy, congratulations.
Shit.
You have now done philosophy.
Wait, wasn't it barbarian? What was it? Orc bard. Whoops. I read the orc part and thought that's a barbarian.
racist.
I mean, the two are not mutually exclusive. And I am very well aware of how heavy instruments are. You get whacked by one of those.
Did you assume their class? Honest. Hi,
And honestly, if they work at a dairy farm, they probably had to take at least a couple of ranks in some class that's a little more physically oriented, if only to survive the cows.
I can't work out
Or
whether or not
goats.
a cat at a dairy farm is a good or a bad combination. Anakira, hello. Love this kitty E. Just woke up. Hope you had a nice sleep.
It did get kicked in the head by a cow because it tried to steal milk.
Oh no. It's a natural impulse. Don't punish them.
I mean, chances are the cow might have just missed them if they tried to kick, because that's corgis, I think, used to be used for cow herding.
Oh, because they're small.
Because basically what happens is like, okay, the cow can see them, and the cow is going to do the herd animal thing of move away. But also, if they kick, because the corgis are so short, they usually just kick over the corgi instead of actually hitting the corgi,
Huh.
which is really funny.
So why not use mice?
Because mice don't have herding instincts
Hmm.
on account of the fact that they're not predator animal.
Sounds like a skill issue. Okay, rats then.
Give Mac.
What? Hazel.
What instrument would a cat use? Ooh, they would run across a piano. I can't make this cat have a piano on its back though.
Keytar?
Guitar.
It's a modern kitty cat.
I'm trying to think of a pun.
Or there's oh, I don't remember what they're called. There are
Mac.
instruments where it's essentially a block of wood and then it's got metal sort of metal keys on it. And you sort of flick them.
Kalimba, yeah, kalimba.
Yeah, I can draw that. There you go, kalimba.
E.
Fling those thingies.
Blink the things. Sorry, everybody in chat's having a good time.
Malke.
Malk. Okay.
Okay,
Miss
I'm
Miss asked Hazel to say Gib Malk, but Hazel said Gib Mac for some reason.
done. I kind of the brief. I drew a quarter of the brief and added a lot.
It's not a brief; it's a prompt.
Yeah.
You take as much or as
since
little of the
they're-
prompt as you like.
And
do
since
like
they're
this
randomly
book.
generated, sometimes the prompts are nonsense anyway. And we decided to make 2 cats.
Carnby.
So,
I'm stuck in front of a door. The lock works with cards. I already have 3,
oh hi, Cheeb.
but I seem to need 4.
Hi, Chip. That's a long one, but I kept it in because the voice acting is superb.
I wasn't looking at chat. Which is this superb good or superb bad?
It was from locked command from Alone in the Dark. Why is it snow? Oh, it's snowing there. Ooh, exciting. I'm guessing because it's cold and there's precipitation coming from the sky. Yeah, Cheap has the locked skills. It's all the practice. But yeah, look what Christy drew. He's real good.
I drew definitely a bard.
They've got a kalimba, of course they're a bard.
Yeah. I'm done, by the way.
Hey! It's good. And kitty. A cat orc. It says half orc actually in the description, so it's half orc, half cat.
Yeah.
There we go.
One of those
Works
weird
out.
Khajiit.
Oh yeah, since they're sometimes human shaped and then sometimes they're just like house cat size.
A cark. Not a cork.
Oh.
E.
That's good.
Ragdoll, do you want to go next or?
Let's see.
Oh yeah, do you want me to generate a quote for a prompt for you, or do you just want to get your own?
Well, I mean, I've got one that's pulled up that's funny. I don't know if you would want to draw it or if I would want to draw it, so I'll just read off what it is and we can decide.
You go right ahead.
Lazy dwarf paladin from a recently erupted volcano village who woke up in a bar with no memory and a sealed letter.
Ooh,
Oh.
mystery. The letter's full of lava.
I heard flattened by a recently erupted volcano at first.
I mean, it's still sort of concerning, or it's just kind of like you grew up in like you live in a volcano. What?
The mole
But then
people
again-
from Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah, there is that.
And they're extinct, so.
There is also that. Yes. And also dwarves just sometimes live in places where it's like, what are you doing here? This doesn't make any sense.
But it's cozy and warm.
And full of magma. I'm a fan of the word magma. Magma. I used to have a specific, wasn't even really a programming language, it was a sort of algebraic geometry tool at university called Magma that I had to use to solve problems. And so I had a lot of opportunity to say magma.
Funny how many things are called magma.
I think that I think it was named after something in algebraic geometry that I don't know. But I'm assuming it's called a magma. But you know, knowing maths, they stole that from geology.
Magma. They stole it from the rock itself.
They mined that term
Yes.
from the cold
Look,
hard
science is a
stone.
lot of going, hey, here's a thing. Oh, it's pretty similar to that thing. Let's just use that name to describe it because we're lazy.
Wow. Copyright issues.
I was about to say, can you copyright
I'm
a word?
not
Yes,
wrong.
you can.
Oh. Oh no.
Like the number of things in mathematics where it's just kind of like these are 5 different things and we gave them the same name because they're doing sort of the same thing but in different enough areas that you don't talk about them simultaneously.
Hey kids, do you like the word normal? Boy, have I got 600 different definitions for you.
Yay.
Particularly when they use the word normal to mean special.
Ah.
Like a normal subgroup. Which is a very particular type of subgroup.
Doing.
I think they call it that because the definition is tangentially related to something called the norm of something, but it's nonetheless. It has long since outlived that definition, so...
Yeah, words do that.
Etymological detritus.
And then you have the normal vector, and you have the normal distribution, and you have...
Vecna isn't normal. Sorry. I'm in a silly, goofy, tired mood.
Good. Well,
That's fair.
less so tired, but silly goofy. We like that.
It's that point where I'm tired all the time. So if I don't take several naps during the day, I get very silly.
Well, we wish you the ability to sleep well and also be silly.
Yay. I just need to not fall asleep during the day is the thing. That's all.
I have the opposite problem. I can be as tired as physically possible and just not be able to sleep in the day at all.
Well, better than at night.
Oh yeah. I'm good at sleeping in the night. That's the flip side, right? Cannot under any circumstances sleep in the day. Pretty good at sleeping at night.
Are you drawing a laboratory set? Oh, now I see. I saw like a beaker and some what's it called? Not
Other Muppets.
tubes thingies.
Yeah,
those
test tubes.
Ah,
Yeah, I made the mistake of deciding to draw the scene.
You haven't yet learned.
we all have to do the Julia at some point. It's a really good cat from behind.
He's good.
Oh, does that have a little ball? Oh, I thought it was a little ball of milk. Which also cats shouldn't get.
Oh.
Cats shouldn't have cow milk.
What's this?
They're at a bar, so they're at least going to have a drink.
It can be a milk bar. Nothing wrong with it.
It's the right ration.
Maloko.
And to be silly, we're just going to give them the biggest fuck off sword.
Yay.
Well, they're a paladin, so...
It's just gonna be attached to a little belt. It's just gonna fall off. It already fell off. It now hangs on the chair. Oh shit.
Ooh.
I just realized I drew a cat, and now I'm covering most of the cat with the big ass
Yep.
sword.
Yep, you're doing every Julia in the book.
How does this cat get around with a giant sword on their back? Don't worry about it.
I mean, it's used to have,
Impressively.
yes. It's used to having 6. How many claws does a cat have? How many fingers does a cat have?
As many as they want.
Yeah.
Ah, right.
Fantasy cat.
I panicked for a second, not knowing how many fingers a cat has. I really haven't drawn swords much. I should rectify that.
More swords.
Yeah.
Their tail's going to be slightly on fire because they just came back from a volcano.
I thought it had cut itself.
I mean, they live in the volcano. You would assume they'd be hairless.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, that's at least some protection before the skin.
True, I guess. Just it would, you know, if it's going to catch fire,
I
that
don't really
easily.
know what sort of...
Then again, dwarves aren't exactly hairless.
Don't really
are they?
have a whole lot of examples in nature of, like, what do things that live in magma have to be able to survive living in magma, on account of the fact that we don't really have anything that lives in magma.
Yeah.
Not in, just near.
Like some insects, maybe? Near.
That's probably something that lives near magma. Quite happily. He says, thinking of like magma fields and how they are completely barren of life.
Mm-hmm.
I think things that live near magma have wings to get away from the magma.
It always comes back to devils.
I was thinking birds, but sure.
I was like, oh yeah, an opening to hell, wings. Yeah, devil.
Devils have wings purely for the survival instinct of getting away from the very hot lava.
Yeah.
We have learned something today.
They have a
Well,
helmet.
don't know if that reads, but there's their little helmet that they took off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either that or a weird ashtray.
What? I mean, it has been some years since I last saw an ashtray, but still.
I said weird.
True.
Alright, so there's our very confused kitty paladin.
And there are several reasons for it to be confused. Why is its tail on fire? Why does it have a sword on its back? What is it drinking?
Many questions.
Then the letter.
None of which it knows the answer to.
It's very bamboozled.
Good for them. I should specify for the people who arrived after we eventually settled on what we're doing. We've got the who is my D&D character thing. But instead we're ignoring the race and just doing cats. I don't know why we chose that, but you know.
Well, I got half orc, so
Yeah, half orc, half
Right.
cat.
yeah. It's free drawing. It's
Again, you can take as much or as little of the prompt as you like. And my prompt is I have a fussy cat sorcerer from a peaceful coastal town who used to work as a tavern bouncer.
Oh,
So, bouncer sorcerer. Buff cat.
buff cat. Where's Jeep?
Buff wizard cat. Now, people are going to have to tell me the differences between, like, sorcerers and warlocks and stuff, because I always forget.
So so it sort of varies from canon to canon, but for D&D specifically, wizards are nerds who went to school to learn magic. Warlocks are people who got a magical sugar daddy. Clerics are on good terms with God. And sorcerers have someone in their family tree who's just got too much magic in them and just passing on down the line like a weird curse.
Okay.
I love that you think a magical sugar daddy.
Yes, and that's only barely a joke.
I mean,
So
I have been playing most of Baldur's Gate by now, so I do get some of the terminology in D&D, but I can see what you mean.
Yeah, so warlocks make a pact with some powerful entity that is not explicitly a god. Partially because like gods are just too busy for this sort of thing. But basically, it's a give and take. It's you give me some of your power, and the warlock then has to do things that their patron tells them to do. Now, like, originally those pacts were usually with devils and demons, which are technically different things in D&D depending on the edition, but also you've got what are called archfey, which are really powerful fey creatures that you can also make pacts with. Various other powerful entities. It's like cleric, but make it sexy. I mean, kind of.
What fey did you say?
Archfey.
Archfey.
So archfey are fey that are powerful enough that they're sort of like edging on the edge of like potential godhood, but not quite.
I was trying to find a class in D&D that encapsulated what I see as a fairy. From what I've learned, like locally, folktale-y,
Yeah.
and the closest I got was this. It was also a fey creature, I think, but it was essentially an old man with a flute. And that's not really how I imagined my fairy character. Because otherwise it's like tiny sprites or entities that's part of a tree or something.
Yeah, I mean, the fun thing with D&D is it's been going on for a while, and people just keep adding things and just a huge bit of yes-anding. But yeah, fairies, both the like Disney idea of fairies and the more folktale idea of fairies are in D&D. I think I believe there's at least one red cap that you can run into in Baldur's Gate 3, so that's a thing in there.
I was delighted when I saw them. They look so much like our Christmas figurines. Like the oldest Christmas ornament thingy that we have in the family is literally those red caps, just tiny bit less evil looking.
Yep.
Wait, which one's less evil looking?
The game ones.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, but then D&D also just has here's Cthulhu from beyond. Yeah. This is literally just a bunch of Cthulhu monsters from beyond.
I saw a thing on Tumblr the other day, and not having played Baldur's Gate, it intrigued me, so I wanted to get the lay of the land as to how accurate this is. But somebody described Astarion, is it?
Mm-hmm.
As
vampire.
as somebody with the physicality and mannerisms of David Bowie, but with the voice and personality of Tim Curry. I don't know how accurate that is. But I was like,
That's simplifying some of it, but yeah, that's at least the persona that he likes to present himself as.
Yeah. Very theater-esque person.
He is very much playing a part.
Yeah. Both a part and a part.
Oh, and Oobs, for your question, who decides who's a god? There is an actual answer for that, but I'm going to have to remember what their name is because it's been a while, and they're not an entity that usually fucks around in the mortal plane. Ao. There we go. That's why I always forget his name, because it's hard to pronounce. Lord Ao, the Overgod.
Isn't that Dutch for century?
Literally.
Ayo.
Alice!
Ayo.
Ayo!
Yeah, so it's spelled literally the letter A-O and pronounced Ao.
I was right. Yay.
Ah, they're a werewolf. Oh.
Yeah, daylight coming, we want to go home.
A Wimberware?
But yeah, he is the Overgod. I believe as far as... Okay, so this is a thing that has sort of changed a bit from edition to edition, but each god has an alignment, and it used to be that alignments were just sort of like a cosmic balance type thing, but things sort of change and evolve over time, so God knows how they're defining it these days in 5th edition. It just sort of depends on whose work you're reading. But AO is... Essentially. AO is about as true neutral as you can get. He just doesn't really fuck around on the mortal plane. But if there's, like, a god that gets removed, but there's a thing that needs... That's a place that needs to get filled in, sometimes that's a thing where it's like, well, I guess we need to have something else in here. So, like, Mystera... Or, sorry, not Mystera. Mystra. There we go. Brain decided to add in more syllables that did not belong there. She is not the first god of the weave.
I've seen hints to that in the game so far.
Yeah, so she is the current mother of magic, but she was not the first mother of magic.
Oh, magic,
or,
okay.
like, god of magic. There was actually a war among gods, and the previous one got killed. So Mystra was a human that was born and just sort of became the incarnation of the new goddess and then ascended into godhood.
When you said goddess of the weave, I thought you meant, like, you know, the goddess representing fabric and fiber arts.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, there are things that I have read or played where it presents magic as sort of a, like, weaving type thing. But yeah, no, the weave is the name of, like, where magic for the most part comes from.
Is that the chromes that's got the weave of life or something in some mix of mythologies?
There's, like, definitely, like, the sort of weaving fates and things like that.
Yeah.
My brain thought it had more to add than that. Sorry, carry on.
No. I like this wizard. What was it?
And actually, if I remember correctly, depending on where in the D&D you are, so there was a god before Mystra, but I believe there's another one that comes after Mystra as well, because, like, that's just a thing that happens. But yeah. So yeah, you can get promoted to being a god if there's a hole that needs to get filled. And AO is more or less the one that goes, right, okay, we need to do a hiring committee. Who's going to fill this open role?
Wow, they have a lousy job. Like, I keep being on either side of the fence of either that there's everything and everything is possible in D&D is what makes it great, or what makes it not for me. Because there are some things in Baldur's Gate that
Sleep on cheap.
What?
Jib's chewing out because of brain fries, so just saying, good sleep.
Good sleep.
Sorry, carry on.
That I won't spoil, because it's just for some people it's just gonna be too amazing a surprise when these characters pop up. But there are some things where I'm like, okay, now I just can't take these heartbreaking, heart-wrenching scenarios seriously when this thing exists. It kind of brings me out of it.
That is the D&D experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's we have these grand adventures, and then also Looney Tunes shit is happening.
Yeah, that's also what brought me out of Final Fantasy. That those Moogles. It was like all this cool shit, and then, oh, there's fluffy things that, okay, cool. And also lizards with knives. Alright.
That's fair.
Like this thing at the same time is hard for my brain to wrap around.
I
See, to me, it sort of depends on how the silly stuff is presented. So, like, the fact that in Baldur's Gate there is an item where it's like, yeah, this will let you do a misty step for teleportation, but I guess someone fucked up with the enchantment on it, so it just teleports you, it doesn't teleport any of your clothing.
What?
And and to me, silly stuff like that, where it's just sort of like building on the fact that it's like, yeah, sometimes the world is just really weird and dumb. Like, there are real life things where you look at it and go, well, that's stupid. Who decided to do that? Well, who knows? Sometimes people just make stupid things. That's one thing. But as long as it's not something that's like really taking away from those gut punch moments. So like the big character development moments, it's like I'm sort of okay with there being silly things.
Yeah, I just try and erase it from my memory. Like I make a headcanon where those things don't exist, or I make it into something else, something cooler and more edgy.
I think
Well, and yeah, that is a thing where, so in Baldur's Gate, the game is already set, but when it comes to like playing with people, it's all just going to depend on what you and the DM and the other players have agreed on. Because if you and the DM and the other players agree that you want a more serious campaign, you can make a more serious campaign. If you want something where, as Oobs has pointed out, you want to play a homebrew where everyone is a stoat, you
Hell
can
yeah.
do that.
Not the stoat.
That sounds great.
Is this a traffic cone?
Yeah. Well, I like the idea because there used to be a bouncer, so they don't really know anything about the magical world, so they've just sort of made do with what they could find. So they don't have a staff, they got a pool cue, they don't have a hat, so they got a traffic cone. They're just making do.
That's adorable.
Well, and if they're a sorcerer, that means they just do magic. They didn't really learn it.
Yeah. They inherited this. This came out of nowhere. Just, Cousin Gary died, and all of a sudden they can do magic.
I think the best description I've seen to like compare Sorcerer vs. Wizard to more contemporary stuff is people who've been traditionally like actually taught how to do programming versus people who just sort of figure things out, where it's like, oh, there's some amazing ideas, but also there's just so much spaghetti in here. How is this existing?
That's me. Hi.
How does this cat function? But also they do.
There was one little bit added to one of those posts where it's like, oh, where the sorcerer character's like, oh, you summoned water from the water dimension. Well, that makes a whole lot more sense than taking hydrogen and oxygen and fusing it together. It's like,
that's a good comparison to programming, really.
like, oh, you just use the built-in function for that. You didn't have to make a giant block of.
Oh god, it's been me with my digital art lately because I don't understand. The Clip Studio is so freaking huge compared to Procreate.
Yeah, that's fair.
And just the text is so small. There's so many bars and things I can do and click on, and it's a lot. So I just end up doing it like on my own for a whole day instead of using the things I could have done for me.
If
Having lots of tools is fun and nice if you know what to do with them.
As I have said before, particularly with Blender, the hardest thing about learning Blender is knowing where everything is and intuitively replacing the thought of I want to do this with doing the thing automatically. As soon as you can get over that, you're grand. But as soon as is easier said than done. So yeah, Clip Studio is the same.
Half the battle, the art is the rest.
Yeah, exactly. You are using a tool, and you need to know how that tool works, and it's takes time. There's also a musician I follow online, and he's always telling people, have more than one program that you make music in, because you never know when the program you're using won't be fit for purpose, or they won't upgrade it anymore, or they're suddenly swapped to a subscription system or whatever. But do bear in mind that as soon as you swap over to another another digital audio workstation, it's going to take you about 2 months before you're comfortable enough to actually use it. So that's why he's always swapping constantly, just to kind of like not have to do that, not have a sort of backlog or anything like that. So yeah, it's a universal thing. But if you ever want, if you ever want a little time of just like, hey, let's sit down and solve some problems or work out where things are and whatnot, I'm available to help if you want.
Thanks.
Like trying to share what knowledge I have that may or may not be useful.
Also, the art and the hobby programming community are
a lot of
very free with information.
What
it does. The one thing I will say is I have customized my Clip Studio quite a lot. So if you're wondering where things are geographically, that might be different. Because I've moved everything over to one side because it annoyed me that there were two sides.
I did feel like I was asking a lot of technical questions I could have just Googled, and I felt bad.
Why Google when you can have a person explain it bespoke?
Yeah.
This.
Also, why use Google? It's terrible.
Yeah, nowadays. I've been using like DuckDuckGo for ages, and like I had to use Google recently because DuckDuckGo was giving me the wrong thing. And I was like, let's try a different thing. And I went to Google and I was like, this has changed so much. How have they made it way worse? Like,
It's all that.
they just had to leave it as it was and it would have worked fine in perpetuity. How did it get so bad? It's amazing.
It's like if you just find a group of hobbyists who are really into the thing and then just look up all of their things. That's pretty much how you have to do it these days.
I like Oobs has said, that's why the Adobe 7 days trial makes absolutely no sense. Who can even figure out how that program works in 7 days? Yeah, any of their programs, frankly. Try working out how to export anything in Premiere in 7 days. Good job. Good luck. But yeah, I don't know.
This is a
And-
good
and-
point.
And this is why I recommend Reaper as a digital audio workstation, because their free trial lasts 2 months or longer if you just don't click, okay, I'll buy it now.
Aw.
They're very nice like that. Anyway, yeah, here's the thing.
Is that good thing? I feel like there should be a goldfish in that bowl.
I think they
Cool.
probably repurposed. They needed like something that looked like an orb, but they also wanted a drink, so they probably repurposed the goldfish bowl and stuck a handle on it.
Not orb, but I'm thirst. Oh,
Contemplate the orb and then drink it.
Yeah, there you go. That's my contribution. Next.
yes, cool. Someone wanna give me something interesting?
Oh, that one's another bard. I keep getting bards.
Because I didn't buy grow a bard last time, so.
Yeah, they had a kalimba. We've been over this. See, it sounded like that.
How many devices do I have to turn off 1,000,000 times?
Well, this is a fun one.
Well,
You-
this one's at least sort of funny to me because of
Orb.
the differences in classes. So, a
Valid.
disruptive halfling warlock from a pompous wizard school who always wanted to learn magic but struggled with it. See, to
It's
me,
not
that's actually sort of an interesting character in general. Because, like I said, wizard is you went to school and learned it. Warlock is you got a magical sugar daddy. And if this is someone who struggled to learn magic, that means it's like, well, they went to wizard school, but they were bad at it, so they did a cheat code and made a deal with someone.
Also, it's one of those munchkin cats.
Munchkin
with the
cats.
tiny neck. It's essentially dwarf cats.
Mhm.
Teeny.
But it sounded had something fun to Chris.
No. If you want to go with that, the thing that's quite fun about this prompt is it's actually very similar to a character I had from a thing, which was a halfling. Or they were a half halfling, who really
They were a
wanted.
fourthling.
They were 3/4ling, and they really wanted to do magic, and they were very enthusiastic about it, but just had no like aptitude for it at all. And this was in a story where the conceit of the story was there was like a sort of a paladin fighter in a adventuring party, and their party just got completely wiped because of a magical misfire. And they went, right, screw this, I'm setting up a hospital that's gonna cure magic-based illnesses, and we're not gonna use magic, none at all. And so they just have to invent like surgery and things like that. And this halfling character basically invents chemistry because they really want to do something like magic, but they can't. So they're like, well, let's see what we can do with just plants. And
They turn fantasy into the real world.
yeah, is the difficulty of trying to set up something that we think of as normal in a fantasy world. Which I freely admit I did steal the idea of that from a character from Terry Pratchett, who is someone who's trying to think scientifically in a wizard school. But I like the idea of doing that, like actually setting up a hospital, and everyone going, I can just lay on hands. Like, no, go away, you're banned here.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna cut
And
this person
that's-
open. Yes, it's a good idea. No, we'll ignore the fact that the only person we can get to do that is the local butcher. Doesn't matter. Anyway, this was a conceit I had for a sitcom, and I wrote one episode and couldn't think of any other ideas. And so-
Happens.
I do think that the science-minded in character surrounded by magic users is sort of a funny trope. Because this is I can think of a couple of other examples of it popping up. One of them hilariously being in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Because you've got most of the party where it's like you are literally magic users bending the elements, and then you've got Sokka, who is an engineer and knows that science is a thing.
Sorry, I'm very annoyed that it took me a while to disambiguate the word avatar in my head between the blue people and
Me too.
yeah. It's annoying. People come up with original names. Once thought of a sorcerer character who was on the run and hid as a cleric in a monastery, and the shenanigans of pretending to be a cleric as a sorcerer. That's a fun idea. No, not Rincewind. Rincewind was just bad at magic, if I remember correctly. I
mean, to be fair, Kiro, Avatar: The Last Airbender has had much more of a cultural footprint than the blue alien people Avatar ever had.
I'm not sure Avatar has had a cultural impact apart from on, like, you know, box office ratings or box office like profits. That is its cultural impact.
In the circles I am in, its largest cultural impact is people talking about how much of a cultural impact it did not have.
Having a cultural impact by way of not having a cultural impact. Interesting.
Apparently the second one was good. I like how that's a question.
As a statement of enthusiastic positivity.
For what it was pretty good. I watched it with my dad. He likes them.
In the first book, he wished for science with the camera, and he was annoyed it had an imp in it and wasn't the result of light. Yeah, I vaguely... I did watch the Sky adaptations of... I think they just called it The Color of Magic, but it was 2 books. But I only ever watched them once, so I can't remember it very well. I remember Trolls and an old barbarian. Got knocked out and had a flashback of his life in another universe where he was a doctor on an airplane. Interesting. I remember that bit. Yeah, he's great. I love him as a character. Color of Magic and the Light, fantastic. That's the one. Or those are the 2, rather. Watched the first one and was bored as hell, so you're not even going to bother with a sequel. That's fair. Don't know if it was ever mentioned in the show. Well, they had to fit 2 books into... I don't know how many parts the show had. But I imagine they cut a lot. Oh, and luggage. I remember luggage.
Wait, is that character called Luggage?
There's a chest called luggage. They have many legs. Luggage is a good boy, eh?
I like how fervently that's typed, and also I like the fact that the name is Luggage.
Luggage is good.
Like, that's just very unsurprising to me, given what I know of Pratchett's work as a whole.
Okay, then it was. Some guy who does music. Wow. Not wrong. Not wrong. Yeah, there's luggage. There's got it. Yeah, apparently the TV adaptation of The Color of Magic / The Light Fantastic was 2 parts, 190 minutes in total. So basically two films. Or I guess nowadays that's just one film because films keep getting longer.
Smugglage.
Smugglage. That's small luggage. You try and smuggle luggage. If Dead Island was set in the Terry Pratchett universe, they wouldn't have stood a chance.
I mean, if Dead Island was set in the Terry Pratchett universe, there would be significantly more just little bits of hilarious. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh yeah, Tim Curry was in.
Yeah, no, oops, I agree. Any movie that's getting it to that length needs to have an intermission break.
Like I just have it in my head that a film is 90 minutes long. That's just the length of a film in my head, and they're now like 3 hours.
I remember watching Harry Potter, the second and the third movie. They did have intermissions, so we could go pee and stuff.
That is a good thing for a
Yeah,
kid's
well,
film.
and when you go to like live performances, like musicals and stage productions, a lot of those will usually be 2 hours, 2.5 hours, sort of depends on the production. And you get a break sort of middle or 2/3 of the way through. One, so that everyone can, go pee. 2, so that you can go out and like buy things from the kiosk. 3, so that the performers can like drink some water and maybe change clothing.
Do you reckon if filmmakers want to keep, making their films longer, but also we start embracing the idea of an interval or an intermission, that filmmakers will start introducing cliffhangers into the middle of the stories? That'll be fun.
Oh, that would be fun.
Hunger Games are
It'd
like
be
2 hours, 45 minutes. Gee.
Hate that. I hate that, oops.
I don't like sitting down
On
for
principle,
half
I
an
hate
hour
that.
to watch the TV show. Which reminds me, I need to watch the last series of Ghosts. And also the last 3 and a bit series of Doctor Who. Because apparently the new Doctor Who is attempting to continue what was done in the previous series, so I guess I have to watch it. I will do little doodles as I go to describe my mental state. The other fun part of your sorcerer was they have to get unreasonably buff to fit in with the clerics.
Clerics are buff.
Clerics okay, so in like Final Fantasy, your white mages have like little sticks, maybe a bow. Clerics in D&D wield maces.
I'm imagining like kind of cross between the Final Fantasy white mage and monk. That kind of thing. That's how I'm thinking about it. 'Cause the monks are buff, they're hand to hand.
It's actually sort of funny because clerics do have a certain level of like physicality to their abilities, because they're basically, the idea is like, okay, they're going into the front line, so they have to be able to beat things back with a stick. It does mean that in Baldur's Gate 3, all 3 of the main guys for your companions have got like 8 strength, and everyone else has at least 12, including the cleric. So the cleric has more strength than all 3 of the other dudes in the party.
Nice.
And the second model's fucking buff. And then 8 strength.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of muscles and not know what to do
rogue,
with
our
them.
wizard, and our warlock, all little 8 strength babies.
And then you cut over to our hell game, where everyone's on like -1 strength and 10 charisma. We're a specific sort of group.
It happens.
Do the in D&D in Baldur's Gate, it's deception, persuasion, and insight. That's like that type of deal is always what I do if I can in a game.
Yeah. As I recall, Cuthbert is very good at persuasion and deception. And Jupiter's very good at deception. I don't know about persuasion. So yeah, it's a thing. It's difficult to, deceive and persuade people in hell, and it's not really the point of it, but gosh darn it, we try. Yeah, one day I'll get around to playing Baldur's Gate 3. I did want to try next year and just sort of set time aside to actually consume media, because I think this year I've largely just coasted with making my own stuff and not really consuming anything else outside of streams. So, and that's not particularly healthy for people who make things. You want to keep getting new perspectives from different places,
We need to switch how we work around, because I do the opposite. I do consume all. This cat isn't working for me.
He's cute. How
Looks
dare
like
you?
a man.
Don't insult my friends up.
I'll insult
The
everyone,
ultimate,
but I had
the
this
ultimate
idea.
defense. You can't
That-
insult yourself. You're my friend.
But yeah, no, I get that. I posted the Malander earlier today from last month, and I don't like that. I don't like how it turned out at all. But it happens, unfortunately.
I liked all the fuzzies.
They didn't turn out so bad. I did get to the shading part and went, oh no, hang on, I've drawn myself into a corner with this. I've got a lot of fluff to do.
Oh, fluff.
Oh, can zoom out. Oh, that's fun. That's a fun idea. Oh no, Miss has invoked the everyone's got to be nice about themselves can't. Again. Can't pin it from the iPad. Aha! It doesn't count. I did do on the Malander thing. I did do a last minute. Oh, that's what I get for zooming in, I suppose. I did do a last minute. His face looks weird. Let me flatten all the layers and just wiggle it around with the liquify tool till it looks right. And it did work. It looked better. Turns out Mal's not supposed to have a jawline. He doesn't look right with the jawline.
That's a funny sentence.
He's got a round face. Give him snoot boobs. He snaps with his teeth. Some people aren't meant for jaws, I know. See, it's the anti-stoic. Who is
Stoics
all
took
jawline.
all of the jawline.
Made a face
more
entirely
jawline
out
for
of
everyone else.
jawlines.
What does a magic scroll look like?
A spiral with lines coming out of it. This was fun. Continuing on my story from last time, this is something my granddad also taught me, which was the scroll to draw the scrolls. You do a spiral like that, and then lines coming out like this. And then you join it up like that. That was the first thing I learned how to draw. My granddad taught me. Crochet and that.
Awesome.
And how to play cribbage. Which I have resolutely forgotten at this point.
I thought cribbage was a Jacko's thing.
That's fibbage.
Ew.
Which is
It's a
probably where the
quiplash.
name comes from, actually. Cribbage. Cribbage is a card game. Which you play with a board with pins. And I found we have both of my old granddad's cribbage boards. And no pins. We've got two boards you can play it with, and nothing to put in them. Although I think the idea is you can just use like matchsticks or something.
Yeah, you could just use toothpicks. In fact, I think that's what our cribbage board has, is just toothpicks.
Yeah. Oh, now that's making me think, what
because-
game can you make with a cribbage board? Interesting.
Because my brother has a cribbage board that was made by my great grandpa out of a deer antler.
Oh,
So it didn't come with pins because it was literally carved out of an antler.
yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, why didn't you carve the rest
But
of the
yeah,
antler?
you just need like four little sticks to fit in the holes. I mean, I guess you could get by with just two, but having four makes it easier to keep track of things.
While everyone else was drawing S's in their school books, you were drawing scrolls. I never learned how to do the S thing. I remember my brother did it a lot, but I never learned how to do that. I wasn't doing scrolls, I was doing like weird spirally patterns. I'm going to see if I can find my old school book. Because I never used to draw things, I used to just draw patterns. Also keep score with paper too. Yeah, you don't need the board or pens, it's just part of the aesthetic, part of the feel. Have you just put a scroll over those books?
Fancy magic coat.
Ah, right, okay. Either way, you're covering something up.
Yeah.
Draw all the books, then rub them all out.
If for fancy.
Actually, hang on, that S thing. So I'm just gonna doodle in the corner while you're doing this. Apologies. The S thing's like you do that, then you cross it over like that, and you do that and that. What's next? Like that? Is that it?
Yeah.
Something like that. No, okay. Sorry, I was just wondering whether or not you could do that without lifting your pen off the paper. You can't. It's non-Eulerian.
Well, I mean, you probably could. You just have to
Well,
redraw over lines.
Yeah, without going over the line again. I can explain why. Maths time.
Yay!
Because these bits here, which have to be a start or an end, can't go into them without coming out of... Once you've gone into them or come out of them, you can't revisit them or leave again. And also these little intersection points here that have 3. These now necessarily have to be the middle of it at some point, and every time you go in, you have to go out, so there have to be an even number of lines coming in and out of them, but there aren't, there are 3. So you can't do it.
Yay, graph theory.
Graph theory, that was my first theorem I learned in graph theory, was Eulerian, semi-Eulerian, and non-Eulerian graphs. Well, actually, I got... Well, no, it's a handshake lemma, that's not a theorem. But either way. Christy's too good at drawing cats. See? See, Christy?
What?
Cat. Also,
Okay,
furniture.
This one didn't go as well with the concept, but
He's good. I like the glowy tail. I think that's a really neat idea. And also just a very good cat.
it's hanging on something because it did an oops magic because it's not good at it. It climbed up all of the books, but now it can't. get down again.
Oh
Because they
no.
all knocked over because of a bad spell.
Oh, bless them.
Yeah.
Moo.
There we go.
Also, their tail is on fire.
That's their
Oh yeah.
That's their that's their catalyst.
Ah.
Did not intend that
There's
to be a
two-
joke at first, but it was there.
2 cattails on fire today.
Oh no, sad cat news. I mean, I'm not entirely sure that's the medical term there, oops, but yeah, sorry. Sometimes it's just the kindest thing. But it's never a happy time.
Nope.
Hugs,
Never
hugs
fun.
indeed. We get spoil rotten. Yeah, all the spoils. Oh no. Oh dear. Even when it's expected, it's rough. Oh, doubly so. You got the build up and everything. Usually fine with these things. That's nice. Nonetheless, support. Abstract support. See, now I feel bad that my Christmas card design this year has cats on it. Ragdoll,
Yes.
I have a prompt for you, given that apparently we're giving each other prompts now. And I like this one because it randomly has synergy to it. So yours is a resentful cleric from the Boneyard who is haunted by the ghost of their father.
So we've drawn
Seems
a paladin and now we've got a cleric.
It also says dwarf. You can incorporate that as you wish. I feel bad. I always feel bad. Simba.
We've got a goth cleric here. Let's see.
I didn't feel bad at all. Sounded sarcastic, but for real. Which does remind me, I need to get people's addresses and stuff and make sure people who want Christmas cards can get Christmas cards. They're goth, so it's Kovu then. I don't know who Kovu is.
That is from The Lion King 2,
Oh yeah, there was a sequel.
where we've got Kiara, I think is her name, Simba's daughter. So you know how The Lion King is basically Hamlet?
Mm-hmm.
Lion King 2 is basically Romeo and Juliet, but less dead people.
So not really Romeo and Juliet. Come on, if you're gonna do Romeo and Juliet, do it properly. Kovu's another blame
And
factor for a
oops.
generation of furries, okay?
And oops, there is another Disney sequel that matters. The Rescuers Down Under is so good, a lot of people forget that it's a sequel.
I did not know it was a sequel.
Yes, there's The Rescuers and then The Rescuers Down Under.
Hang on, I'll have to look something up now. Suffice it to say, I haven't seen any of these. No, okay, I got that backwards. Sorry, for some reason the Goofy movie just came into my head, and I was like, I remember thinking that was a sequel, but no, it has a sequel, and I get confused because that's called an extremely goofy movie, and easy titles to mix up. Favorite song from The Lion King
No,
2 is the one where they just
technically-
group shame Kovu. Fun.
Puccini to Cari.
Yes, so basically with The Lion King 2, the idea is that apparently some of the lionesses actually sort of supported Scar, and they got kicked out of the Pride Lands. So they've been living out in the elephant graveyard and whatnot. And
what a
one of
pleasant
the
place that sounds.
lionesses is like, oh, we're going to get back at Simba using this small child who looks like a lot like Scar for some reason, though it is explicitly stated that no, he is not Scar's son, because otherwise that would be very weird for things that they're setting up later. But Kira and Kovu meet as cubs and become friends, but neither Simba nor I'm gonna forget her name, the lioness who's like setting Kovu up as we're going to use you to take down Simba, are thrilled with that. And the end of it basically comes with a Kiara and Kovu are sort of like reuniting the two halves of the. Yeah, basically it's like, yeah, no, let's just not do this anymore.
And they disagree, and they end up dying. The end.
A really good song came out of that movie.
Well, Oop seems to have a favorite, so.
What's this prompt?
The whole song about killing a baby. What? She goes really hard in her description of throttling a cub to death. This sounds like a great film. Is me joking about.
That cub.
Okay, the next round of things I need to crochet involves 7 color changes, so I think I'm going to pause with that. Not going to be able to do that and pay attention to the stream. That thumbnail does not scream lullaby, it must be said. There's not a lullaby face.
No, it's not.
Now, is this expression one of sadness or, like, Dad, stop it?
I was kind of going for annoyance, so yes.
Well, you succeeded.
It's a really cute ghost dad. That's the song. That's the awesome song. I mean, it was 10 years ago. Maybe it's not anymore.
Miss seems to think it's good, so Oh, and there's another one. Shaming Song.
Yeah, that one. That's a good one.
See, here's the question. Here's the problem, though. If I listen to these, then I will have listened to songs from The Lion King 2 before The Lion King 1.
Wait, haven't you seen The Lion King 1?
No, I have not seen The Lion King 1.
What?
I think I've heard a bit of... Is it Hakuna Matata? I think I've heard a bit of that.
If you haven't grown up with Timon and Pumbaa, you've missed something.
Look, we had Robin Hood. That was good enough.
I had a game with Timon and Pumbaa where one of the games consisted of Pumbaa burping things away, and another of something to do with Pumbaa farting. And I played it a lot.
And why not? I think Lion King is on the list. Hang on, let me see. No, it's not. Let's add it. Yeah, here's the list. Films to watch with friends someday. I like this one. This one's fun. Ah, Spirited Away. Another thing I've not watched.
That's really good. The music's really good in that.
Miss is making connections.
My DVD of Spirited Away is so old that it has that thing where it has a menu, the DVD, and it would loop the what is it, the outro song of the movie, and I just have that on, just the menu because it had that song.
I remember having DVDs of Red Dwarf, which is a sitcom set in space. And the DVDs were sort of like a camera shot of a part of the ship, and it had like ambience to it, and that ambience would loop on the title screen, and I used to just have that on and fall asleep to it. DVD menus.
Yeah. Before YouTube ambience videos
Yeah.
and 4-hour essays.
I mean, I'd usually just keep the radio on all night if I just wanted to listen to ambient music, but
Yeah, but
Genova.
the thing, if you hate what's on the radio, you can't fall asleep because you get angry.
Yeah. I tend to use podcasts now. Just to chill. You know, one's by people who don't shout.
yes, there is that.
I use my latest hyperfixation. And
Reasonable.
that on repeat. For a month at a time. At the moment, it's Neil Newborn and Tom DeVille playing Baldur's Gate streams.
Hey.
Which is very funny to watch because you can see in real time Neil falling for his own lines.
Yeah. I mean, with so many lines, you have to still get surprised sometimes.
Okay.
If I'm back up,
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Hey. Now, here's a question. Do they have a mace, or is that their tail?
I mean, I meant it to be a mace, but you never know.
Why not mace tail?
Oh,
Why,
This is cat D&D world.
why not Ankylosaurus? You know? but cat.
And Catlosaurus.
Yeah.
It
Ankylosaurus.
does mean that you have a bit less room to use it with if it's literally attached to your body, but doesn't mean you can't lose it.
Didn't do the Ankylosaurus any harm, apart from when it went extinct.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But that's just inevitable. Neat. Righto, so I guess Christy gives me a prompt.
I have a good one. I don't know if you think it is. Just it just makes me smile. A hot-headed gnome monk from the Wayfarer foothills who was raised by ghosts.
Raised by ghosts? That's so good, I'm allergic to it.
I don't know what the Wayfarer foothills is, though.
Offhand, I do not know. But also, there's a lot of different areas in D&D, so... including other dimensions.
Yeah. Sci-fi in my fantasy is something I have a hard time with, too.
Doggo also has a hard time with it.
Doggo has finished.
Well, I mean, it helps that it's not really a hard science. It's just they're coming from beyond the plane, and it just happens that it's like, well, beyond the plane is also just like space, sort of. But it's not like they've got rocket ships. They've got like weird magic ship thingies that travel between the planes.
Yeah, that's good. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have gotten past the cinematic in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, seeing as you literally start in a ship.
Yeah, if you can call it that. I'm not saying anything spoilery, but yeah. If it had been a traditional sci-fi ship, meh, no likey. But again, I just changed things in my head to being more medievally fantasy. That's where my comfort space is.
That's fair.
Such different cats.
That's the plan. Hello to work. Monday is Mondaying. Oh, boo.
Looking forward to seeing what they're pushing or
Oh no,
they're doing.
they're just monkeying.
I mean, it looks like they're just doing monk poses in a bed sheet.
Yep.
It's a monk bow?
Kind of like martial art kind of thing.
I don't know my monks.
It's kind of confusing, like, because in my head, if you were just to say the word monk to me, I would think of like Cadfael, like a kind of medieval sort of dedicated to God, hermit, you know, deals with herbs. But in, you know, the D&D world and such, monk is like a fighting class, sort of warrior monk, which takes more influence from, I think, sort of various Asian sects and such of.
Yeah, like sort of kung fu master type thing. or not master, depending on what level they are.
A kung fu person.
Kung fu hobbyist.
Well, I mean, the fun thing is, Kiro, Final Fantasy got a lot of its ideas from D&D.
Yeah.
Really?
Most of the
Oh,
things I
yes.
know about D&D come from Final Fantasy. So,
Yes. Early Final Fantasy was taking a lot of ideas from Western RPG, tabletop RPG things, in particular D&D. To the point that, and they changed this fairly early on, which I sort of appreciate, because as far as those games are concerned, I prefer the MP system. Final Fantasy 1 has spell slots.
yes. And it's annoying.
And you can... yes. And... like, there are some games it works out with, but with the way that the Final Fantasies are set up, the MP system works better for me.
Do you know what? I've never realized that is the D&D spell slot system. You've just pointed that out to me, and I'm like, that is it. That is what that is. I hate that.
Yes. So depending on what your level is, you can only cast X number of spells of a certain level until you go heal. Instead of the MP system, where you have an overall MP pool and different things cost different amounts of MP, but you can use that MP for any spell.
Yeah. Actually, to be fair, the biggest thing that annoyed me about the magic system in Final Fantasy was that all the magic was really, really expensive, so there was a lot of grinding involved in getting all of it.
Yeah, there is that.
That's my main
But
issue
even
with
that is, again, based off of with D&D, where a lot of the time with D&D, it's like, oh, you have to buy a spell scroll to learn the spell.
Yeah. See, now this doesn't count. I sketched the body underneath to erase it, and so I didn't draw it.
Yeah.
It counts. Or it doesn't count. One of the two.
Also, Puppy is very much obscuring my view. He's just standing in front of the monitor looking straight at me in protest. You can't fucking see this.
Well, of course you can't see it. It's a ghost.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, TP versus MP, it's... The name is sort of arbitrary, but it's essentially just like, here's the number of points you have available to use skills with. So whether you're calling them techniques or magic, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's all similar thing. It's a bit like in Final Fantasy 9, like you use MP to, mug someone. It's like, is that what? That's not. I don't think that's a magical thing you're doing here. That's just a skill. But they just rolled it into the the one system, because why bother having several different names for what is essentially the same thing? And
it would be very annoying if you had separate technical points in magic. That would be frustrating.
I some things used call it focus points. I like that. That works. That's generic enough.
Yep.
Is this the ghost day being all, you go, champ?
Yeah. They were raised by ghosts, but they were also fighting monks, so they were also trained by ghosts. And they're like, yeah, you're doing great. The ghosts did not instruct them to put this sheet on. They did that themselves. But
They did that to feel close to their family.
yeah, they wanted to fit in. Everyone's like, you don't have to do this. It's like, yes. They're hot-headed. That was also part of their character.
Mm.
Also probably as a consequence of the bedsheet.
I like that their parent ghosts have a hand, and they don't.
Well, it's raised by ghosts. No one specified what
Oh, yeah.
ghosts.
All right.
True. Yeah, mine was specifically their father, so the implication is they're probably also a cat. Although you never know with D&D.
How many D&D stories have involved
Because-
in adoption?
Yeah, well, but also there's the thing where, and this is something that has changed, but I believe in a couple of the editions fairly early on, the idea for sorcerers is that they had they were descendant from like dragons if you go far enough back. But now also we just have dragonborn, so
And they're descended from dragons if you don't go not too far back.
yeah. But since the sorcerers could be like humans or elves, it's like, hey, who fucked the lizard?
FF14 until
Though granted, a lot of more powerful dragons would usually have a humanoid form, but you know, it's still the question of hey. If you go far enough back.
Look. Let people do these things. They're having fun, it's fine. FF14 till the third expansion had both MP and TP. Whatever one you used was pretty class specific, yeah. Everyone looks at the bard.
All bards are horny. Just a lot of them.
Oh yeah, I know, I'm aware of the Night Watch. The adopted dwarf. I'm aware of that character. That was the one Discworld book I did attempt to read. And then promptly got distracted by something else, because it's me. Yeah, I should specify what book that was Guards, but... Does the watch only appear in one book, surely?
Come on. Sorry,
That's terrible.
Pooch is mad at corner of room.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
There's no right being there.
I changed the position of a bowl. That's can't have that.
Disgraceful.
Seriously, at one point he kept barking at my mom's purse because it was on the floor. It was a very scary purse.
Scary.
When you're smart enough to realize something has changed, but not smart enough to realize that it doesn't matter.
Yeah. What a dickie.
Everyone's prodding everyone to read books. Oh, my colour changed. That's probably what's going on there. And now I can't change it back. Oh, because this isn't Clip Studio.
No, it is not Clip
That
Studio.
might explain why it's not working. You don't have to double tap it. The colour picker's right there.
Oh yeah, about something we talked about earlier. What I've been doing lately, with most of my time is playing Baldur's Gate and drawing in Clip Studio. And I keep, when I go back and forth, because I get tired from either and I can't focus. So when I have been drawing a lot and then start up Baldur's Gate, I keep pressing spacebar because I want to zoom in and change the camera, and then I just miss my turn. I have to reload because it skips my turn.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what Alt actually does in Clip Studio. But I keep tapping the Windows key accidentally instead of the Alt key when I use Clip Studio, because
yeah.
it's close to what I use in Baldur's Gate, I guess.
Yeah. Swapping between programs is a
It's
a
not
pain.
even two art programs, it's very different things.
Well, I do the same with like, you know, going to like video editing, DaVinci or whatever. And yeah, just and that uses like that's got a timeline in it, as does Reaper, the music software I use, but they control completely differently, and I keep trying to do one with the other. But yeah, don't worry, you're not alone with that. That is a universal thing.
Look, I know people who've gone, hey, why does my hand keep going to hit Control Z when I'm drawing on paper? So, you know.
Oh yeah, I try to zoom in.
I try to zoom in, yeah.
My eyes don't zoom.
On physical
Terrible.
things a lot.
This is assuming I ever do things on physical media. Although I do have a plan to do something next year on physical media. In fact, I have a couple, but I also have 700 other plans. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, sorry?
Priorities need to happen.
Yeah. Try and pinch zoom on paper. I don't have that because, you know, I don't use tablets as much as I probably should. I remember at the beginning of 2020 saying, I'm going to get used to drawing on my iPad, and then I'm going to go out to like cafe or whatever, grab a little drink and just draw there for a couple of hours and make that a regular thing to get out of the house. And then 2020 happened, and it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
And I still haven't really touched Procreate. I hear it's good.
It's limiting but good.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna assume it has all of the nice sort of layer tools and things like that I'm used to in Clip Studio, but it's very much more designed to be like a art thing rather than a Illustrator thing, as it were. Does that make any sense? I think the words artist and illustrator in my head mean different things to what they mean to everyone else.
I mean, graphic designer, maybe?
Kind of, yeah. There's a lot more technicality that you can do in the Clip Studio. Get confused when you switch between games that have very different movement systems. Oh yeah, that was the thing with I can't remember what it was. We played Elden Ring, and then we played something immediately after Elden Ring, and I was just constantly pressing. Oh no, I was going to Elden Ring from something, and I kept going to pick things up and jumping instead. Just like running up to something. Oh, what's this? Jump. They're very excited.
Yeah, that
Very hype. Yeah.
happens a lot. Like, that's happened whenever I've swapped between playing, like, Valheim and something that uses PlayStation controller settings versus something that uses Nintendo controller settings, and it's like, all of the buttons are different! And most of them don't let you rebind.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to rebind the keyboard too.
Although Hades lets you reset all of the buttons, which is nice, because the default just doesn't fit well for how my fingers want to go for things. So I redid all of the buttons.
Yeah.
Well, not all of the buttons. Movement is still the same.
I changed things to be a smaller diameter because my fingies cannot reach as far as normal people's can.
Yeah, that's fair. One way, Y is talk interact, and another way, Y is yeet yourself hard and fast in the direction you're facing. That is a different feel of action. I downloaded a thing the other day because somebody I follow was streaming it. Have you ever heard of Kaizo Mario things?
Yeah.
Somebody, so for anyone who doesn't know, they're like just really, really difficult modded Mario things. So like if you've seen like the Mario Maker levels that are really, really hard, that's the sort of origin of those. But somebody made like a learn how to Kaizo mod, where they mod Super Mario World, and it's just like lots of different lessons on different skills, and then at the end of like 10 lessons, you do like a castle as a test that has a bunch of them back to back. And I decided to do that, and I thought it was really fun. It was a nice little time, and then it wanted me to press like 3 different buttons at once and then alternate between them, like frame by frame. And I'm like, my thumb is not smart enough for this. I was like,
This is
no.
homework.
But at the same time, I quite like that. I was saying the other day that I kind of miss having like a goal. I miss having like a thing to be working toward. This is the test I need to study for. But then I guess that's part of, you know, being relatively good at academia and choosing to go into an academic direction, is that you'll end up liking that way of doing things because you get rewarded for it.
It's also just a very human thing.
Yeah, having a goal to reach for.
Mm.
Oh yeah, Plamps, that's the classic, you know, like the PlayStation thing of like, in Japan, circle is confirmed. In Europe, X is confirmed. And like, the default controls for the Final Fantasy ports in Steam, some of them are by default circle confirm, some of them are by default X is confirm, and there's no consistency across the games. It's like, why?
Oops, in this instance, X is, you hate this person and they know it
Yeah.
now.
Oh no, now you can't go and date Barrett.
And it wouldn't be as much of a problem, except they don't let you rebind it.
Yeah. Oh, there is. I'm playing. Well, I finished playing Final Fantasy IX. And they do have on their launcher, click here to rebind the buttons. I'm like, oh, brilliant! And then it doesn't work. There's a whole menu for it, and you click on it. It's like, okay, I'll rebind this. Nothing happens. Well then.
Great.
Yeah, in this instance, X is yeet yourself hard and fast and at them. Sorry, I don't make the rule. Yes. Human fall flat rules. There's a game we could play. I mean,
That's
people would have.
supposed to be a frustrating game, right?
Yeah. Frustrating, but also silly.
Yeah.
You know, it's not getting over it,
Oh.
which
cool.
I've also played. Not finished.
Why
My-
you torture yourself?
That or
Some
Gang Beasts, yeah.
people like that for some reason, which is why Jump King
Yep, Jump King.
is also a popular game.
That one never
And I
appealed to me,
basically
but-
look at that and go, why?
Love Human Fall Flat. Always end up laughing so hard you get stuck hiccuping. Well, we'll put it on the list of potential things to do. The fun little silly times. I think of like Gang Beasts and Human Fall Flat as like the same game, but one's co-op and one's competitive. And I generally lean
What?
towards co-op myself. Oh, speaking of, I keep meaning to bring this up to people. If anybody wants to do a multi-world randomizer, I'd be up for that at some point. So if you don't know, a multi-world randomizer is a randomizer for a game, but everybody's items from their games are shuffled between each other's games. And there's a tool called Archipelago which can connect different games together. So one person could be playing Ocarina of Time and another person could be playing Hollow Knight, and they will have each other's items in their game. And you sort of progress together. You pick up items for each other, and it's like, oh, I found your thing, and then, oh, I found your thing, etc. And I'm keen to play that with someone, or multiple people. I think theoretically large numbers of people could play together.
Yeah, it gets more complicated the more games and people you add, though.
You're more likely to get, as is known, put into BK mode, so called because somebody was stuck with nothing to do for so long they went to Burger King.
It's not AFK, it's BK.
Exactly, yeah. So I'll get here's the list of all of the games that Archipelago supports. Be keen to do that near the end of the year when you have a couple of weeks off. Ooh, yeah, maybe. There's loads of games in there, like Dark Souls 3's in there, Hollow Knight, as I said, the original Final Fantasy, bunch of Zelda games, Pokemon Red and
But
Blue.
what platform and stuff?
It would be PC because you need to download the Archipelago thing.
But
I can imagine it's a bit of a faff to set up as well, so I don't know how long that'll take. But
Yeah, you'll have to make sure that everyone's things are working as far as games or ROMs or emulators are concerned.
yeah, Undertale apparently is in there. VVVVVV. Tried to bully your friend into playing VVVVVV while the two of us played Hollow Knight. But in the end, it was just one big Hollow Knight multi-world. I mean, that's fun as well. And then what you can do is you can have one of the people in the multi-world randomize grass, and then everyone's just constantly picking up grass.
how do you know? Like, how do you craft anything
Did you craft anything?
in any game? If you, I probably don't understand this correctly, because in my mind, you are in this game and you just pick up some grass, but grass isn't a craftable object in the game you're playing, so you can't use it.
Well, you'd pick up an item. It might be one of your items, but you might end up picking up an item for someone else, and then that would just go to their game. But then someone else could pick up an item for you, and you'd automatically get it when they pick it up. So all the items are still the same thing. You'll just, when you go to pick something up, it will be random. And you have to find the things you need.
Yeah, so whenever you go to the little shiny spot, it will say you found Chris's boots or something.
Yeah.
And then suddenly in Chris's game, he's got those boots.
I'm a good noodle, no random grass. I played the Hollow Knight grass randomizer. It was fun, question mark? It was interesting.
Many things are fun, question mark, with you.
It's just like there are 100 or so items in the game to pick up and a couple of thousand blades of grass. Shuffle them all around. Most of the things you'll pick up will be grass, and you'll have to cut every blade of grass in the game to find all the items.
Oh dear.
It was a time. It does give you a grass counter, though, of like, here's how many blades of grass are in this room that you haven't cut. So that's nice. Minecraft is in the pool, and it randomizes certain recipes. Oh, blimey.
I have Minecraft. Haven't played it in a hot minute.
Well, there you
Don't
go.
think I remember how to play it.
See, that could be a fun one, because if you wanna join in with the randomizer, but don't wanna worry about rushing to an end or anything like that, you just want to sort of chill with friends and have a good time and join in, then you could hook up Minecraft and just play Minecraft, and we'll randomly pick something up and go, oh hey look, you can make swords now. Yeah, maybe you can't make a bed until your Hollow Knight friend beats the Mantis Lords. Exactly, you never know. Yeah, Rogue Legacy's on there. I have played that randomizer. It is fun because it randomizes all upgrades. So all of your like stat upgrades can be randomized around. Just as a standalone randomizer, that's a fun time. Oh yeah, there is Sudoku in there. That's for people who are in BK mode. Just like they want something to do, play Sudoku. Rogue Legacy's good. But yeah, particularly that randomizer is a fun time. So downside is all the checks in Minecraft are based on in-game achievements, which you never end up doing. Ah, okay. So if you want to unlock things for yourself and other people, you have to do the achievements. I get it, yeah.
I like how the Sudoku specifically also has, it specifically mentions BK mode, but then it's also, you can get some useful hints for doing this. So it's like, well, if you're stuck, do this. Maybe you'll get some hints to tell one of your other partners, hey, go here.
Oh, that's neat. I also like, how do you randomize the witness? I don't know how that works. Apart from just pushing puzzles everywhere. Of all the games to build a randomizer for, that's a bit of a strange one. But yeah, there's loads of games on there. Raft as well. That's a weird one. I don't know how that works. Recipes, maybe?
No, Slay the Spires in here.
Slay the Spire? That's a roguelike. I guess so is Rogue Legacy.
Yeah, that's a deck building roguelike.
Oh, do you unlock cards maybe? I don't know. Yeah, loads of Zelda stuff, obviously. Zelda's sort of ideal. I need to legitimately get my hands on a copy of some Zelda games. Which I do have. I own Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on GameCube. but the randomizers for them always look so fun. So I've got to work out how to do. Got so hard stuck in the triple Hollow Knight that you played Sudoku and reported all the hints you got. Not super helpful, but passed the time, as you don't have local BK to go to. I also don't have a Burger King to go to. But yeah, getting hints for doing Sudoku, that's kind of a fun thing. Blasphemous.
It does mean you have something to do while you're waiting for something to do.
The thing is weird, the only Dark Souls in the list is Dark Souls 3. And that's the one that has, like, the least progression blocking MacGuffins. So, I don't know how that works. You get a lot of, like, weapons and stuff, but there's only a couple of MacGuffins in, like, the... What would you need? The doll, key to the archives. Oh, the coiled sword? Can you not start till someone finds the coiled sword? Oh, that'd be great. You need the coiled sword, and that's in someone else's game. Maybe at the end of their game, so you can't do anything after the first boss, and you just sit there for 3 hours.
That would suck.
Donkey Kong Country 3. Specifically 3. What do you unlock for that?
I like how it's got Final Fantasy 1,
Yeah.
but doesn't seem to have any of the other Final Fantasies listed.
It would be, yeah, if you could do like Final Fantasy 5, the randomizer for that's real good. And a lot of people like doing 4 and 6. But again, this time.
Like,
Sorry, what was that?
no, keep talking.
I was just going to say that Archipelago is just like a general use one that connects all these games together. There are other multi-world randomizers out there, so this isn't the only one. There might be more. Other people can send the DS 3-person armor and spells. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, what was it?
I'm gonna look into this more tomorrow. My headache is not letting me understand this completely. It's definitely only headache. That's the reason.
No. I've watched people streaming these and like trying to explain it to people in chat who have never heard of the concept before. If you're not familiar with it, it is a bit difficult to explain without seeing it happen. But yeah, look after yourself. Don't let headache be mad at you.
I love Ghost Monk, and I have to stare at a screen with some entertainment and not think about my headache.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks for having a fun time. I'm gonna have to go a bit early.
Oh yeah, that's all right. We're probably going to end in a second anyway. But yeah, you go look after your head. It's important.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for hanging
Bye.
and drawing good things.
Well, I guess in that case, we might as well just turn all the layers on.
E. Layers. Oop, not that one. There's not many layers, obviously.
And I guess you'll need to take over Christie's layers and...
Yeah, I've done those. Hard cut off from Christie. I'm really bad at finding emotes. Overcooked 2 randomizer completely transforms the game into a Metroidvania with items and item locations. What? We have Overcooked 2, don't we?
Yeah. I think we've all got it on Epic.
Okay, well there's an option. Pokemon Red and Blue. I want to do some Pokemon randomizers as well. But I need to work out how to get my legitimate copies into a playable form. There's a lot of lines, many lines, Lewis. Look at it, we did all this. Well, including Christy. Christy did most of the lines, to be fair. Hope it was good food. Hope you had good food. What did you cook? What did you cook and eat? But yes, if you want to go to archipelago.gg, there's a list of all the games that you can link together. All of these can be linked together in whatever way you want. And you shuffle items from your game with everyone else's, and everyone else's items in yours, and just pick up random things and have a good time. And I want to do it with friends. Yeah, I want to do it with friends at some point. So whoever wants to join in at some point, have a good time. Or at the very least, have a time.
Uh-oh.
Ah, terrible time for raids. But hello. Hello, Captain Mary TTV. How you doing? Hello. How you doing? Yar. Pirates. Welcome to this mess. We've turned all the layers on. Hope you don't mind. Yar indeed. But yes, we just spent the stream drawing various D&D cats. Because why not? And they're all on here. So, I mean, I think I can control manually what I see. So does that affect your layers, what you can see? I've just turned all yours off on my screen.
Mine still looks the same. So.
Okay, cool. So I can, for the purposes of demonstrating. This was, I think, a bouncer who got randomly turned into a sorcerer or something. Is it sorcerer? Sorcerers are the ones who inherit it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the, I'm looking at the stream because, like I said, mine still has all the things on. That's the sorcerer bouncer.
Sorcerer bouncer. This was a monk who was raised by ghosts. They're cats for reasons. Do not argue. This. Oh, that was just a random doodle. This was a bard. I can't. What was the setting for this one?
If it was Christie's first one, that was the bard that used to work at a dairy farm.
Oh yeah, dairy farm. Which is just a fun design.
Hence the milk.
Hence the milk. Very important. Then this was the sorcerer who's not sorcerer. Sorcerer? No, warlock. Warlock. I still can't get them all in my head. The warlock who wasn't very good at magic. Who things went wrong here. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Then there was the dwarven warrior, I believe, who just woke up at a bar with a weird letter. Paladin. I'm so bad. I'm real bad. Very bad with memories. And more ghosts. Don't remember this one. What is it? I even generated this one. Cleric. This one's a cleric who's haunted by their father. Spooky kitty. Spooky kitty. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for the raid. What were people doing? Were they having a good time?
I like how your soup brain cat stayed on through all of that.
Yeah, they're the mascot for the stream. Turn it all back on for the sake of completion. Oh, and also there was this that I found when I was looking up concept art. This is concept art of Link from Zelda 1. And I like it because I originally misinterpreted the drawing because I think this is a nose here. Hang on. I think this is supposed to be a nose, and this is an eye, and there'll be an eye here. But I originally saw it as that's the nose. And then he's just got a little smiley face. And I'm a big fan of that. And I wanted to share that with everyone. You saw it that way too? See, I'm not the only one. Here's the thing, I saw it that way. I then downloaded the picture, looked at it again later and went, oh, hang on, that's a nose. I'm going to have to explain to people what I saw here. And now it turns out everyone's seeing it like that. So it's not just me, hurrah. And Bear saw that there were buttocks in here for some reason. Oh, Kiro saw it the first way. Oh, okay, right.
I think it has to do with how the ear is positioned. It doesn't quite, with how the ear is, it doesn't really look like the head is tilted.
Yeah. I mean, this is clearly just a little doodle made with pens on, you know, just full of booty.
Yeah.
Oh no, Kiro saw. Okay, right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a nose at the bottom, but because it's sort of bulges out there. But I just wanted to share. It was a fun little thing. What I saw when looking for concept art. And I found a bunch of weird concept art to add to challenges if ever we wish to do that again. There's a smile. There's a smile. Happy face. But yeah, that's my treat for everybody for the end of the week. But on that note, we will end. That will be the stream.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming along. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you had a nice chill time. We will be back on Tuesday. Well, I'll be back on Tuesday. Doodling some stuff in the morning and then playing Ghost Trick in the evening. Because that game is quite something.
More nonsense.
Much more nonsense, I assume. Wouldn't it be weird if from this point on it's really sensible? I don't think that's going to happen somehow.
The plot twists in that game are both impossible to predict going in blind, but also telegraphed in weird ways that are obvious when you look back at it a second time around.
To be fair, I do have
Which is
one.
great.
I do have like one big suspicion, which is a wild idea, but is backed up by evidence that I've seen so far. But I would be very surprised if that's the only thing, and I can't think of anything else. So I'm looking forward to it. Shutakumi games are not exactly sensible. But yeah, I won't say what I think because I don't want anyone else to sort of. If I'm correct, I don't want to spoil it for anyone else, and if I'm wrong, there's no point having people looking for it if it's wrong. I think Missile's the mastermind. Missile is actually. No, that wouldn't work. I was going to say Missile's the lamp, but they coexisted at the same time. But I guess ghosts can time travel, kind of, backwards, if they keep hopping from bodies.
Miss, I just have one thing to say to you.
Ragdoll's smiling. Don't you smile at us. Missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't. Thank you for stream. Have a good evening. Yeah, have a good Monday. But yes, I'm intrigued to see where it goes. So yes, that's on Tuesday. Wednesday is the finale? Question mark? No, not the finale. We got like 10 bosses to draw. The pre-finale of Final Fantasy IX draw through. Thursday, more doodles. Saturday, who knows? And Sunday, more of this. So I hope you all have a lovely time. Yeah, have a good Monday, Blamps. Have a good time. And for everybody else, have a good slep. Yeah, and hopefully we can sort out some randomizer shenanigans at some point in the future. Chill time with friends. Yeah.
Yes.
So, goodbye everybody, and thank you Louis Zhong for your wonderful music, which we will play out on. So, yeah, goodbye everybody, goodbye!